Hello and welcome. This is the GameTime Gazette. This is your host, Isaiah Aneni. I thank you for joining in. It's made a great decision tuning into this podcast. We talk all sports and all types of fun. So without further ado, let's get ready and let's go.
Hello, listeners. This is Isaiah Aneni. Welcome back to the GameTime Gazette. I'm glad you guys joined me on another day. A lot of things happened in the NFL yesterday. Here to cover it all for you guys. NBA was kind of a slow day as well. Like me and I were talking about, looked at the games last night. Even though the Raptors started out, big shout out to the Raptors, clap it up to them. Big shout out to the Raps, able to, with 4 starters out, 7 players overall, 3 rotational players out, 7 players overall. Able to, give the defending champs a real run for their money last night, made it a real interesting game up until the end, where the Nuggets kind of pulled away. They pulled away, right? Able to get out the dub. Jokic had a monster night. He had like 35 points, 14 rebounds, or 14 assists, 17 rebounds, 6 steals. First player in NBA history to reach that number in a win. They came back from 22 points. Grady Dick was balling, ended the game with like 17 points. RJ Barrett was balling, ended the game with like 24. Kelly Olynyk was balling, ended the game with like 25. So, big shout out to the Raptors. Obviously, we're tanking this season, but that doesn't mean we have to, it has to look ugly all the time, right? And, that was a great game. We quickly, a few games ago, scored 18. So, big shout out to Darko. He hasn't been getting a lot of love in the media. Well, not in the media, but a lot of love from the fans. Like, that's what I mean by the media. You go on Twitter and they're like, Darko out, particularly at the beginning of the season, towards that middle part of the season, a lot of fans didn't really, mesh with Darko as quickly as you'd think they would. And, at the end of the day, Darko Rajakovic, he's been, given time to implement his system on these younger players, and it's seeming to thrive, especially on the offensive game. So I'm excited to see how these young Raptors players develop. Grady Dick, he got a lot of slack at the beginning of the year. He wasn't playing to his potential. He's been playing much to his potential since the All-Star break and on in 2024. I feel like in 2024, he has like 50% shooting and like 45% from the field, or like 50% from the field at one point, from 3 at one point. So, big shout out to the Raps, big shout out to Darko. I just wanted to get a little bit of NBA covered there. A few other games happened. Charlotte against the Pistons. We're talking about barn burners, but we're not going to cover that today, obviously, because, they were such barn burners. We could leave them in the dust, and a lot of blowouts. And, in my opinion, the Raptors game was the most interesting game yesterday, even though the Raptors were up 22 at one point. You just always knew the Nuggets were going to come back, so always watching for it. And Jokic was having a quiet monster night, even though it was a monster night nonetheless. But let's get into the NFL talks. I know that's what all of you came here to talk about. That's what's the important thing to talk about. Not important, but that's what's been the buzz in these last 24 hours since you've last seen me or you've last heard me. The NFL has been buzzing, and it knows how to get a pop. It's been in these last few years, the NFL has done a great job. These players, they get, phenomenal players, so many superstars in the NFL, or so many superstar level players, not superstar, because superstar, a lot of attains to superstar, you got to be like famous, all of that, like Instagram famous, all of that. But, all these guys are just phenomenally talented is what I mean. You see a lot of these NFL guys and you got so much off the board. And yesterday, it was a running back day. Let's start off there. Big shout out to all the running backs in the NFL. They resurrected from the dead after everybody in the NFL media, they were just discounted. They were saying that these guys are replaceable. You can't pay these guys, or you don't want to pay these guys running backs because you just go draft another one in the next draft. And big day for running backs in the NFL yesterday. If you're a running back in the NFL, we're finally getting that recognition that we deserve. Definitely going to highlight a few of the running backs that got the paid yesterday. And we're going to start off with the one that does it the best, Howie Roseman. Tad Prescott said it the best, Eagles got the best front office in the NFL. It was wild. It was wild seeing that Tad Prescott tweet late nights, and it's just like, and with the hashtag, how about them Cowboys? I'm like, what's going on here? It's such. We'll get a little bit to the Dallas thing, a little later, but it's always that drama going on over there. Like, hey, brother, what is this? You know, that meme where it's like, brother, what is this? You know, like, keep it over there. Always drama going on in Dallas. You can always count on that. They won't win, but they'll give you a nice, little treat, nice little movie, give you a nice little soap opera throughout the year. But they haven't won in a while. Maybe that's why they haven't won in a while. We'll get to them in a little bit. But Howie Roseman doing it again for the Eagles. Getting Saquon Barkley. Let's start there. I mean, Saquon Barkley doing the villainous. He's in his villainous act, able to, moving in division. We were talking about it. Me and Dad were here talking about it yesterday, and I was speculating, because we did let go of DeAndre Swift, or we let DeAndre Swift go to the Bears. Obviously, $24 million. You got paid. I seen that, and I'm like, Eagles probably don't want to pay for a running back this year, this and that. But Saquon, D. Henry still out there. You had Eckler still out there, Austin Eckler still out there. So it's like, I was wondering if the Eagles are going to pay for a running back, because it's been like, that same thought of, our NFL team still not giving money to running backs, even though D Swift got paid 3 years, $24 million, respectable deal, going to make his money, obviously with incentives, all of that. I don't know what the final number is or what the guarantee number is as well, but maybe the $24 million is the guaranteed number. I am not so sure, but he got paid. He got his money, right? And then after we seen that, letting D Swift walk, we got, the big boy, big quads, Saquon Barkley, bro. That's it. It's a big acquisition for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, just thinking about how much better that offense is. We're looking at Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, the wideouts. Got A.J. Brown out there, Dallas Goedert. The O-line, Mailata, Juergens. Lane Johnson's out there blocking too, right tackle. That Eagles team is back. I mean, it's like they had that demise at the end of the year, and a lot of things went into that. Let's not just make it seem like it was just the team play or the players just weren't good enough. A lot of things went into that. Even on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of fans want to give flack to Bradbury and this and that and Slay and all the cornerbacks and all the, our secondary, because they were bad. They were really bad at some points, right? But even the D-line at the end of the year there too, I mean, it was tough. But, the play calling, you had a coaching change in the defensive side mid-season. And then it's like that whole thing, everything had to change. And then that whole adjustment period obviously didn't help the fall off, because they were already falling off at that point. It didn't help the fall off. It just made them sink much quicker. And at that point, for the Eagles, it's like they should have probably just stuck with, the DC we already had at the beginning of the year and not go to Matt Patricia, because, going to Matt Patricia, even though, Sean Desai, he didn't do great. It wasn't a great job. It didn't look pretty at times, but that continuity, it definitely didn't help Matt Patricia just coming in and that fall off. Obviously that happening, injuries were happening all around the field. Obviously everybody deals with injuries. Every team deals with injuries, but it does not help when the team is falling off. That's why I'm bringing it up, right? So for a team like the Eagles, all right, you go re-up, you get Vic Fangio, you go get Kellen Moore, you go re-up on your, defensive and offensive coordinator, and you get two of the best in the NFL, regardless of, all right, Kellen Moore in the Charger years and what's been happening with the Chargers. Problem with the Chargers hasn't been their offense. Herbert's been playing well, this and that. It hasn't been their offense. They just can't stop anybody. And, that whole thing with Brandon Staley, being a defensive-minded head coach, and he's not... That whole thing, they weren't utilizing their pieces well. Okay. Kellen Moore is one of the best offensive play callers in the NFL. Obviously had, them Dak Prescott years, and obviously it's not going to look, the prettiest, but bro, Dak Prescott was looking like an MVP some years under Kellen Moore. So let's be serious. He's a great play caller offensively. Jalen Hurts' game is going to elevate with Kellen Moore. Hopefully that's the hope, right? And Kellen Moore not getting head coaching looks, and just because of the way these last few years have gone, he's probably going to be able to stick around around for 2-3 years. Vic Fangio doesn't want a head coaching job. So he's there for the long haul as well. So we're looking, and Vic Fangio's a Philly guy or something like that, right? His family lives out there, something like that. So for the Philadelphia Eagles, got the stability up top. Now you go get the players. Got Saquon Barkley at running back position. A steady, I mean, he's a top 5 back in the NFL. You can't name 5 better guys at the running back position than Saquon Barkley. And he's been playing at the New York Giants that has a depleted O-line for years and years and years. The 31st and 32nd, 30th worst, best O-line, and that's, the worst. Your top 3 O-line, top 5 worst O-line regularly. And your back, he has to turn into some next type of superhero to just get past the O-line. It's a tough ask, and looking at all them pieces, and you put him, if the Eagles without Jason Kelce, obviously Jason Kelce's gone, and you can't replace Jason Kelce, but Cam Jurgens he's been getting trained by Jason Kelce and by Jeff Stoutland for, I feel like after the Eagles won their championship, maybe I might be wrong, correct me on this, but 2018 or 2019 was one of the first few years that Jason Kelce started talking about retiring, and he was the one that him and Stoutland both drafted Cam Jurgens. Him and Stoutland were both helping train Cam Jurgens. So let's not forget that, this Cam Jurgens he's handpicked by Jason Kelce. And I'm not saying Jason Kelce's any type of guru, this and that, but obviously, Cam Jurgens has the skill to be a similar center to Jason Kelce. And Jeff Stoutland obviously seen that as well, developed his game. He's become a great player. Now he has the reins, bro. You're leading the O-line now. Cam Jurgens is, right? So for seeing as that fact is there as well, the team just got better. It just got better. Because then you add Saquon Barkley, you re-sign Landon Dickerson. That one of the best guards in the NFL. Re-sign Landon Dickerson. That protection is protected. Saquon's protected for years to come. Jalen's protected for years to come. We should see. I mean, the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles last year, right? It's just they looked very bland offensively. This year we should see a lot of RPOs. We should see a lot of deep shots, a lot of fun football, because Kellen Moore's calling the plays. We got dynamic players everywhere you look on the field. Tight end, wide receiver, running back. We got one of the best running backs in the league, and he's going to be able to show it now. Not only is he running behind one of the best O-lines in the NFL, he's finally healthy again. Played last season every single game. Best player for the Giants. And you can't hate on him if you're a Giants fan. Let's be serious, because when does it come for a time that we give the same type of love to the players that we give to the organizations too, right? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, he did still give out, okay, Giants didn't, it's not like if the Giants matched the offer, Saquon's the worst guy in the world. You know what I'm saying? Saquon's the villain you want him to be. But Giants did not match the offer. Are you honestly sitting there, even if you're a Giants fan, and you're telling me with your honest heart of hearts that you believe that you would take millions less to play for somewhere that the team even stinks? They valued a quarterback that, all respect to Daniel Jones, all respect to him, but he's getting $60 million a year, and he ain't that good. You ain't gonna win a champion. You ain't gonna win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones. Let's just be honest with that. Do Giants fans think they're winning a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones? Let's be serious now, man. In a league with Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, even the Dak Prescotts, the Kirk Cousins, you think Daniel Jones is winning a Super Bowl? I just gave you 10 seconds to think. You know what I'm saying? Let's just talk about it there. Let's just start there. He's getting $60 million a year, and you don't think Saquon's going to be a little bit touched by that? And he's not going to think, whoever offers me the most money, I'm going to the most money and best opportunity. Obviously, Texans were in the race as well. Hearing that the Texans were in the race, Eagles offered the most money. They valued Saquon the most. Not only that, Saquon played at Penn State and he played in Pennsylvania, somewhere there in high school as well. I don't know if it was Philly, but somewhere in Pennsylvania. But and that is what you add the comfortability factor. You add that the Philadelphia Eagles, are Super Bowl contenders and they have one of the best O-lines in the NFL. And you add that they valued him the most. How are you as a Giants fan going to say that he made a bad decision? He's such a bad guy. Blah, blah, blah. Just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. Let's love the players as much as we love the organization sometimes. All right, we talked about Eagles re-signing Landon Dickerson, also signed Bryce Huff. How he was cooking. And it's saying that he's not done. Bryce Huff had 10.5 sacks last season. Eagles defense needs that, as losing Fletcher Cox as well. So Eagles are going to need that. They're going to need that. Just reeing up, and it's a good look for the Philadelphia Eagles team. If you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you're excited. Another offseason where the general manager, Howie Roseman, the front office is just continuing to work. Every single offseason, the Eagles continue to win. Now, we just got to see it translate as much as they do in the offseason on the field. On a consistent basis. I believe that they can. They got the players. They got the players. They got the coaches. Jalen's a dog, man. Jalen has been counted out everywhere, every single where, and he's continued to win. Alrighty, let's move on. Falcons get their QB and Kirk Cousins. We talked about that a little bit yesterday here. Great piece coming in. The play style that Kirk plays with as well. Obviously seeing him in these last few years, when he plays with Justin Jefferson, we think about 2 years ago before Kirk got injured last year. So the year before last, they were in the top of the NFC. I think they won the NFC North, yeah, for sure. But they were in the top of the NFC. They did great work. Kirk was getting his numbers. Even this last year, Kirk had the most yards up until he got injured. So when he has dynamic playmakers, and he didn't even have Justin Jefferson for a few games this year as well. But when he had dynamic playmakers, the year before last, he made the plays. He won them games. The close ones as well. That was the most important thing. That's why they got to I believe it was 13, maybe 12 wins. I forget. But they won. They won games. They won more than 10 games. They did lose to the Giants in the playoffs, but they won. And they won the close games because he was able to make plays. That's the one thing, when I say he did lose to the Giants in the playoffs, that's the one thing about Kirk boy. That's the big question. Can he win in the playoffs? Doesn't have them playoff wins that, matches the money he's been making. He does have the regular season wins and the regular season numbers to match the wins, the money that he's making, the $400 million plus that he's going to make in his career, which he deserves, regardless of, doesn't win playoff. It's hard to win in the playoffs. He made his money in the regular season though. Got to see it, make it, count in the playoffs. That's what I mean. Because the Patrick Mahomes, even the Jalen Hurts that leads their teams, the Joe Burrows, those guys make the money count. It doesn't make the owner's pockets hurts at the end of the day thinking, hey, Atlanta Falcons coming in here and they're paying, him, Kirk Cousins, $100 million guaranteed here. A lot of faith and a lot of trust in old Kirk boy. And honestly, I believe he, everywhere he's gone, he's doubted shut up the haters. To a certain point, obviously, he hasn't won the big one, and the games and the playoffs. But he does do his work in the regular season, and he's a very serviceable quarterback. Serviceable is disrespectful to Kirk Cousins. He's a very good quarterback. He's a damn good quarterback. Damn good QB. Damn, that boy can throw the ball. He got an arm on him. But no, he's very good. And, it seems to forget that because it's overshadowed by his playoff losses, right? But at the end of the day, with a Bijan Robinson and a Kyle Pitts And I forget who's on the outside with them. Drake London? Might be Drake London. I forget. Got pieces over there in Atlanta, though. They got some dogs over there in Atlanta, man. And it might just match up for them here with Kirk Cousins as well. Getting that veteran. Getting that guy in there that needs to win. Not just wants to win, needs to win. You see the hunger that Kirk's, and we talk about, Jeff Stoutland, and we talk about Jason Kelsey. The one thing that I always take from them, that one quote that I always remember, a hungry dog runs faster. Bro, you see it everywhere. The guys that want to win so much more end up doing it because of the work they put in and the little things. Just life at the end of the day, you put in so much work, it will reward you. He needs to win. Kirky boy needs to win, and I feel like he'll show that. Rooting for Kirk over there in Atlanta. That was a great trade for them, or a great pickup for them. Excited to see who they do get in the draft. Probably bolster up their offensive line. If not, probably just bolster up that defense. Seeing them get, or maybe even get another outside threat. This is a deep wide receiver class as well. Gonna have to talk about that NFL draft as soon as it comes closer. It's gonna be fun, man. This is a fun season for football. Even though football has been done for a month, this is a fun season for football. That's so crazy, man. Quickly, we're just gonna go through some of the running back signings that happened last night. So Josh Jacobs was signed by the Packers and dropped Aaron Jones, and the Packers dropped Aaron Jones, probably because of the money. And, Aaron Jones, he's been doing the Green Bay Packers a solid for these last couple of years. It makes sense for him to go out and go get his money. And we seen him, I believe he signed with, let's see who Aaron Jones signed with. I seen that he got signed. I just forgot to jot it down, but I believe he did get picked up. Oh yeah, by the Vikings. He did sign with the Minnesota Vikings. It was let's see the contract details here real quick if I do say so myself. It was a 1 year, $7 million deal. This feels like one of those contracts of we could get another running back. This is like a minimum type contract. I mean, this is $7 million for 1 year. It's pretty good for the Vikings. I mean, saving on the risk and reward to that is very, very good. And Aaron Jones is a very, very good running back. Going to be a thing if he stays healthy this year, but if he does for them, he's going to be a great player for them. And they get him on a cheap bargain at $7 million. Packers probably because of money and the healthiness as well, and Josh Jacobs. But you think about healthiness, Josh Jacobs hasn't stayed too healthy for too many, but he's been fairly healthy, to be honest. Josh Jacobs, I feel like, and he's talk about one of the top running backs in the NFL. Going over there with Jordan Love, that offense just got better as well. I mean, the running back position. They gained so much of their value, in my opinion, back because of Christian McCaffrey. They got to give a lot of love to him and what he did last year. I mean, he was unofficially an MVP leader for 10 weeks, bro. For 10 weeks. Because if you could be a 3-down back, you're so valuable, bro. If you could replicate what Christian McCaffrey did for the Niners last year, you became so valuable. And NFL teams are looking at those builds, the Josh Jacobs, the Saquon Barkleys, and they're looking at them and they're saying, hey, we could maybe try and do what he's doing over there a little bit over here and see if we could replicate that same type of success. And because he really brought back so much value back to that running back position because of the way he did it. He was a 3-down back, and he's very dynamic 3-down back. Handed off to him, RPOs. So you get guys that could do that. Obviously, it's not just running backs in general, even though running backs were valued a lot yesterday. But I'm specifically talking about because Saquon got paid by the Eagles, and he got paid by the Eagles because looking to have a 3-down back. I honestly believe Howie Roseman is looking at Saquon and saying you could do the same things that Christian McCaffrey is doing, maybe even better. with the proper O-line. Same thing that Christian McCaffrey had. Like, he was in the Panthers, this and that, an organization that didn't even know how to use him. Went to the Niners instantly. Instant success, bro. I feel like that's how Howie Roseman looked at Saquon Barkley, and Packers looked at Josh Jacobs. And it's the correct way to look at it. Get a 3-down back like that, physical. He could be on the pass. You could pass it, hand it off to him, and he could be very serviceable on all ends. 3-down, 1,000-yard, 1,500, not even 1,000, 1,500 runner easy behind a good O-line. That's the blueprint. Tony Pollard left the Cowboys. Yeah, now we're on to the funny part. So Tony Pollard went to the Titans, and then when this happened, I wrote down the Cowboys for sure are favorites to get Aaron Jones, that signed with the Minnesota Vikings, and Derrick Henry. You would just have to imagine, because Jerry Jones, has to open the checkbook a little bit after the Eagles got Saquon. Never mind. Derrick Henry signed with the Ravens. Big move there for the Ravens. You put Derrick Henry, we're talking about putting a dynamic, and Derrick Henry's the best running back in the league. And we were talking about putting, on the pass catch, Christian McCaffrey is definitely a little better than him. Running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey's the best, especially after last year. But Derrick Henry has the ability to be top 3 at worst. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the way he can run the ball, he can throw the ball a little bit. He can catch the ball, but not at the rate that I even think Saquon could catch it. I'm not going to lie, even Christian McCaffrey. But he's very good, and you're putting him behind a great O-line. It's very big, bro. You can't tackle Derrick Henry. Only reason they were able to do that is because the Titans O-line was, it stunk, bro. It stunk. It couldn't stop anybody, and it couldn't block and open any holes for him. We're talking about teams that, these are the 1 and 2 players that had to go through their O-lines 90% of the time to be able to get any type of yardage. Or Derrick Henry, he had to go through he was 32nd in hits at the O-line, and 31st was Saquon Barkley. And you put them on systems that have an O-line, give them that free space to open up. You give them Lamar Jackson for Derrick Henry. We're talking scary dairy offense, man. Scary dairy offense, make your stomach hurt. That's crazy. NFL was cooking yesterday, and at the end of the day, Jerry Jones not opening his checkbook and him not cooking, and the whole thing about him not believing in the free agency. What are we even discussing here? You haven't won in 30 years, brother. Open the checkbook, believe in free agency a little bit. There's a reason why you haven't won in 30 years. Then we're talking about not believing. It's not the 1970s and not the 80s anymore, where they're drafting, the every guy that's coming out the draft is super neat, and everybody's fundamentally developed and this and that, coming in hard work or trying to get their bread. No, kids are making money in NIL in college nowadays, so they come in, they already made their bread. They come in and they're sitting pretty. They go, oh, we're in Dallas. The Cowboys, the Cowgirls get to them. The cow money gets to them. You're not go get some guys that are proven in the league. You're thinking about go to the draft and working it up on the draft. How has that worked out for you? Jerry? It makes no sense. But don't believe in the free agency. Are we discussing real things here? You do not believe in free agency? Is this a real thought? I'm just looking at it and saying, how is this even something that's even said? All other 31 NFL teams signed at least one player on day one of this. There wasn't official free agency, but day one of it. Day one of the whole thing, right? One team that did it. was the Dallas Cowboys. So let's take a minute to laugh at the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, because I don't know how they think they're going to win, man. Dak Prescott's your QB. You don't got a running back. You don't got a top running back. I mean, hey, you draft the next Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or Josh Jacobs, all power be to you. But I ain't seen them do it in a minute. And Deuce Vaughn ain't Josh Jacobs, and he ain't Saquon Barkley, and he ain't no Derrick Henry. So I don't know what their plan is, what they're trying to do. But the Eagles, they're doing it by blueprint. And at the end of the day, at a certain point, just like it did in 2017, it will pay off. But what are the Cowboys doing to build and pay it off? It makes no sense. Their philosophy is flawed. Let's just start there. Like, what is it even? How do you not believe in a fundamental part of your game? This is a fundamental part of offseason. It's become fundamental part of the offseason in the last 30 years plus. It's grown and grown even more. Every year, free agency gets more and more important. The team that wins in free agency, being able to get some great pieces and fill your team around, those pieces that you need, not only, and then going to the draft in the next month and being, okay, let's rough around the edges. It helps. I mean, the Cowboys have not won in a minute. They have, they have enough they have less than 10 playoff wins in the last 30 or last 25 for sure. You can count them in your hands. I feel like Jerry Jones got to let go of the boat a little bit, man. He got to let go of the steering wheel because it ain't working, man. You need to get a guy in there that's actually going to be, he's with the times. He understands the new game. Not the 80s, not the 90s, not the 70s. 2024. What are we even talking about, bro? You don't believe in free agency? I even wrote it down. I'm like, you have to imagine. Like, it is impossible to imagine that Jerry Jones is not going to open up the checkbook a little bit. The only reason Dallas won the division last year is because of the Eagles' collapse. And I mean, even with that, Dallas almost didn't win the division. It's because the Eagles even stunk even more at the end of the year. The Eagles just gave away the division. The Dallas Cowboys didn't win the division. The Eagles gave it away. They gave it away. So I don't understand how the Eagles and the Cowboys are at two different spots. They had a drop off because, Nick Sirianni made some bad decisions with the coaching hires and whatever, but he got some dudes in there. You're going to tell me you don't trust in Vic Fangio? You're going to tell me you don't trust in Kellen Moore? Don't trust in Kellen Moore more than Brian Johnson? You know what I'm saying? To put Jalen Hurts in a position to win, I don't even know, man. The Cowboys are living in delusion. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. You just know they're going to lose next year. This time next year, going to do the same thing and lose the next year after that. That guy, Jerry Jones, needs to give up he needs to give up the wheel a little bit, man, because it just seems like we talk about all these players being past their time and the coaches being past their time. What about the owners being past their time? Why does Jerry Jones have so much control and, it doesn't produce anything? Why does he think he's doing something that's working? I don't understand it. Maybe you guys can enlighten me on that. I'll just quickly end it with, seeing Gus Edwards to the Chargers. That was pretty cool. Going, Harbaugh to Harbaugh. You should have some familiarity there, even though the brothers are definitely not the same. Giants signed Devin Singletary after losing out on Saquon or letting Saquon go. Had a great year with the Texans, so they had to re-up on him. And Texans went to go get Joe Mixon. Seeing some waters change. And then a lot of other trades, like Jaguars went to go get Gabe Davis. Calvin Ridley is going to end up somewhere else. That's looking like. Dolphins got worse. Christian Wilkins went to the Raiders. Brian Burns went to the Giants. Got a massive $150 million deal. Traded for a second and a fifth. Seen a lot of things happen in the NFL. And as things continue to happen in the NFL, as things continue to happen in the NBA, as things continue to happen all over the sports world, we got some Champions League today as well. FC Barcelona against Napoli. I'm predicting Barca. I don't know, Bossa win. Even though we got 5 players out from injury, disappointing. Is what it is. It is what it is for real. You know, it is what it is for real. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about everything else tomorrow. I thank you guys for joining me on another day. This has been the GameTime Gazette. This has been Isaiah Aneni. Remember, Jesus loves you. On another day, another dollar. Peace.